Hey everyone, I'm Emma Mitchell. I'm an energy healing guide. Today I'm going to talk to you about psychic abilities, what it looks like if you have them, what's the point of using them, and how to trust that the messages you're receiving are correct for you or are truth. So let's get started with, how do you know if you have psychic abilities? So actually a lot of people have some or all of these abilities, they just don't even realize it. So the first one is, do you have vivid dreams or visions about something in your life or prediction for the future? Some symbology there could be coming through as well. That's one way to know. Number two, do you have a deep knowing about something before it even happens? That's another way to know if you have an ability. And a lot of people I work with, my clients, they often will just know something, they'll have an understanding, and then it will come true or will be truth for them. Number three, do you have a strong sense of the energy of others or the emotions of other people, even if you haven't interacted with them? Like maybe you're in the same room as somebody and you just know, wow, that person's really angry right now, or wow, that person has an energy I know I don't want to be around. Number four, have you had an interaction with or a knowledge of being in the same space as a ghost or a spirit or an angel? Number five, have you been visited by a passed away relative or ancestor or friend in your life, whether it's through a dream, a meditation, or a vision? Those are 5 ways to know if you have abilities, because if you answered yes to one or more of those things, you definitely do. I didn't know this growing up. I just figured, oh, I'm this weirdo who can sense people's energies or emotions, or I just had this knowledge of people. I also would have dreams about my grandma for years after she passed away. And sometimes I would just have these so intense dreams that I would wake up and know that was totally a message for my future. These are all ways to know you have abilities. And once I started learning more about my own, psychic skills, I realized, oh yeah, this was totally telling me that I have these skills. So if you're hearing this and you may be thinking, yeah, you're saying that, but I really don't believe that I have these abilities. I have so many meditations on my website and on my YouTube channel that you can try to tap into your skills. And if you can do those, then you definitely have abilities, I promise you. So let's just talk about a little bit here. I often use the word clairvoyant because I most often see things. So clairvoyance is seeing with the mind's eye. So you may see visions, have vivid dreams. You may see spirits. I don't personally see them in, walking around, but I can see them in my mind's eye, and I can see energy of other people. That's clairvoyance. If you have clairaudience, that means you can hear things. And sometimes I do hear, voices, or I'll hear something in my head. A lot of times when I talk to my spirit guides, I have a conversation with them and I can hear them, but I can also see the messages that they have for me. So you may have several of these, or you may just have one. Clairsentience is sensing or feeling. So you can feel or know something's near you, but you can't necessarily see it or hear it. If you can smell things, you have a Clairsalience, which is really interesting. I've had a couple of people in my life who are able to smell, like one time I was telling a friend a story and she said, oh, I can smell it smells like butter, like it's going to be smooth as butter. I don't have that ability typically. Sometimes I'll smell like cigarette smoke or a fragrance of a spirit, but that doesn't happen very often, and that's not how my guides communicate with me. And there's other ways that you can sense into these things. These are just the stronger Clair abilities that you may be aware of. So when we're talking about psychic abilities, you probably want to know, how can you trust the information you're receiving is truth and not just making it up? So for example, Say you're going through a guided meditation of mine, and I say you're going to see an animal in front of you and it's going to give you a message. Well, then you see an animal and it gives you a message about your life, but it's something that you've known deep down, and you wonder, am I just making this up? Like, how do I know that this is truth? Well, there are a couple ways to figure this out. One, you can push against the image or the information. So you can ask the question different ways and see if you get the answer different ways, but the same answer. You can push against the image, so you can I say there's a tree. Somebody actually in one of my meditation gatherings, she said, well, you said I was going to see a tree, but I saw a stump, and then I was so confused. So then I was putting different images in there, but it kept coming back to the stump. And I said, exactly. So that's how you know, because you got the stump. The stump kept coming back. So you can try and place different images where you're seeing something, but if it always wants to come back to that same image, then that's the truth. That's the thing you're meant to be seeing. The other way I always tell people is, if you ask a question and you receive the answer even before you can think the answer up, or even before you finish asking the question, that's how you know. I just recently created a meditation, and it's called a blind reading. So actually a lot of my meditations are this, but this one specifically is for beginners. And this is a great way to test your skills, because in this blind reading, I'll say you're going to see an animal or something, and something will appear to you and it will be doing an action. Once you see it, then I will tell you what question this animal is answering for in your life. So these aren't questions in the meditation, but I'll just give an example. This animal answers the question of, how do you feel about where you live? You may see an animal doing different things, like, jumping around or spinning around or being happy, or, surrounded by a bunch of different animals. And you'll know, oh, this means I'm very happy with where I live. And you may know this deep down. Yeah, I know I'm super happy where I live, but it's really good sometimes to get a different answer, because it will show you, actually, I didn't realize I don't feel super safe where I live. I knew it deep down, but I didn't know it, in my head. So that's what this blind reading does, and that's a great way to know that you're not making it up. You're actually receiving answers for questions that you didn't even know existed. So when you're doing this psychic work, and I call it work because to me, one, it's a practice. You're not going to see messages super clearly at first. You might, but most of the time, most people I work with, it's a flash of an image or a flash of a knowing or hearing or sensing. But, the more you do it, the clearer the images are going to get. But work, to me, because you're working at it, it's practice, but it's also for your greater good. I don't teach people how to tune into their abilities just for the heck of it. To me, that's a waste of time. And yeah, it can be fun to go on a journey of, for example, sometimes I'll go and, pretend, vision myself as a bird flying around, which I do have a meditation for that actually on my daily, or my meditation page, and it is just for fun. But most of the time, the work that I do and why I teach people this stuff is for healing. It is so that you can be a better version of yourself, so you can figure out and align with your purpose in life and your life path. It is so you can remove obstacles that are coming up in your life. Either they're from, traumas in your past or emotions you've suppressed. Maybe it's karmic. Maybe it's a past life thing. Maybe it's generational. Maybe there's this weird curse or something on your family line or on you. There's so many things that this psychic work can do. And the most important thing is that it brings you connection. Connection to something beyond yourself. Connection to passed away loved ones. connection to your spirit guides, to angels, to that support of the universe, to God or source or the creator, whatever you want to call that, but also connection to your chakras, your energy systems, and your inner child. So when we do this stuff, you're meeting your heart, you're meeting your root chakra, you're meeting your throat chakra, you're learning how you can be a better version of yourself, how you can clear up people pleasing or feeling unsteady or, feeling like you don't want to be seen or you're not being respected, or maybe you have issues with relationships. Those are all things that doing the spirit guide work, doing the psychic stuff can help you with. We're not just doing it for fun, we're doing it for healing. And that becomes work. It can be hard, it can be a lot, but I will tell you, everybody that I work with, they tell me things have changed exponentially for them after this kind of stuff. After we do a session, they walk away maybe having cried a lot, but they're able to move forward on their path a little bit easier and understand things better. So those are the main things I wanted to talk about today. I know this is kind of a shorter episode, but I do get these questions a lot because I've had people say to me, how do I know I'm not making this up? How do I know I'm not putting words in my spirit guide's mouth or in the meditation because I want it to be that way? And you'll know. Additionally, if you're making it up, you may also feel somewhere in your body like, this doesn't feel right. I know this isn't correct. And so that's like a big thing for me and just why we do it in the first place. I actually had a client one time say to me, what's the point of this? Why am I getting these predictions? Why is this helping me in my life? And I'll say it does help you a lot. And maybe if you're getting messages for other people, it may end up helping them too. Please use your discernment on that. I know I'm kind of going into a little ramble here, but I just remembered this is a very important part of becoming a psychic or doing any of this work. Sometimes you will get messages for others. And the big thing with that is use your own discernment on whether or not it's correct for you to tell that person. I have felt a lot of times, actually, I don't think that they need to receive this message now. I actually talked to a psychic a while ago who told me that whenever somebody's loved one comes to them, because she does a lot of psychic mediumship, like talking to people's departed loved ones for them, she said anytime that happens, like somebody's loved one comes to her, she says to them, go give that message to your loved one that's still alive and tell them to come find me. I'm not going to deliver those messages for you. I need them to come and actively participate. And I think that's actually a really good thing that she does. For me, I will ask the person if I feel very strongly that it's a message that they have to know. I'll ask them if it's okay. I have people's loved ones visit me often when I'm, especially my friends, like if I'm on the phone with them, sometimes their loved ones will come through. Sometimes my clients' loved ones will come through. And sometimes I'll say, not right now. We're not going to do this right now. And sometimes I'll say, okay, I just have to tell you, your father is coming through right now and he just wants you to know this. But really use your discernment, because not everybody is open to this stuff and not everybody wants to know these things, especially if they're bad. Okay, I hope that this answers some questions for you today if you are starting to tune into these abilities. One more time, I'll say I have lots of meditations for free on YouTube, but I also have a Patreon page that has lots of soul journeys, lots of energy healing tools, workshops, and several meditations for helping you to reclaim your purpose, peace, and power within. If you have questions, if you want to learn more about working one-on-one with me, send me a message. But otherwise, find that psychic techniques, psychic beginner meditation on my website and try it out. Okay, have a great rest of your day.